What's up guys, T here, back with another edition of Hearts of Iron 4 Quick Tips, Advanced Tips for Advanced Players. Bi-weekly series I do on my channel Mondays and Thursdays, so subscribe so you don't miss it. Today we're going to be answering, basically your guys' subscriber questions of you wanted to see what divisions am I using, and in today I have a little bit of a treat for you. I'm going to show you some of my more basic frontline divisions, and then later I'm going to show you a little bit more elite motorized divisions with motorized support, as well as some of my panzer companies as well. So that's going to be a little bit later in the video, so stick around and here we go. So the first thing I want to show you guys is my frontline division, and this is just a basic infantry division template. And what I use this for is to obviously hold my front line. And the reason I like it is because one, it's good to defend, it's hard to break through, and two, they have the ability to go on the offensive if I need to, or if the enemy frontline divisions, aka their infantry, is weaker than mine. So what I do here is I do a bunch of infantry for their defensive stats, artillery for their soft attack, anti-air for anti-air support obviously, and anti-tank for that piercing, so if I run into armor, I can deal with it. For my support companies, I do engineers for their entrenchment and defensive ability, the logistics company because obviously it's a very large company to decrease that supply use, military police for their defensive ability. They're just organizing, they basically buff everything, and their suppression bonus, since obviously this is going to be an occupied territory, at least hopefully, because I hope my front lines are on the offensive, and the recon company, so they're choosing the best battle strategy, because we talked about that in the other videos we've done with this, and then the trickleback from the hospital, since it's all infantry, obviously you're going to be taking casualties. So the next thing I want to show you guys is my elite infantry templates, and this is my paratroopers. And it doesn't really matter how many of these actually that you have in here, because they're soft attack, they're only adding 14. So really what you want to know is I just have the manpower with the country I'm at, where I'm at, to have that many, but what's more important is having high numbers of divisions, not necessarily having lots of companies within the division. So if you could have 3 of these or 24 of like just the 6 of these, you're going to want the 24 of the 6 of these, because the paratroopers thing is drop in, grab up as much territory as fast as possible, and then bring reinforcements in, your frontline infantry, your tanks, your main parts. So these guys are just like, I need to have as many as possible. And the support companies are what's really important with this. And what I do is the signal company for the initiative, for the reinforcement, for whatever, so they know what they're doing, they can figure out what they're doing quickly, because it's all about speed with paratroopers. Anti-tank, just in case they run into armor. Recon company for scouting purposes, as far as figuring out what combat strategies are best to take in. Artillery, because you can't paradrop actual artillery combat companies, you can only paradrop the support companies. So I really want that soft attack. That plus 50 soft attack is huge for advancing through enemy territory. And then the logistics company, because obviously they're going to be dropping in behind enemy lines or maybe onto weak infrastructure, and that reducing that supply usage is just absolutely huge. So the next division I want to show you guys is my Marines, and what I'd like to do with the Marines is a bunch of Marines for obviously their amphibious abilities, and then supported by armor for their armor and their piercing and their hard attack values, as well as soft attack. And you can use either medium or light tanks. The difference is going to be that the medium tanks are obviously going to have better armor, better piercing, and they're going to be a little bit better attacking wise, but the light tanks are going to be able to move through the amphibious. They're going to have less of a, there's a penalty for armor on amphibious assaults, and the light tanks have less of a penalty than the medium or heavy tanks, and the heavy tanks have the most, so that's why I don't use heavy. But I like the medium, it's kind of a good mix. And what you can see here is this would normally be 50% but because of the armor I have in here, it's dropped all the way down to 27% bonus attack on amphibious assaults, and that's what this is. The support companies I like to use with these guys are engineer, signal, recon, and logistics and maintenance. Reasons being entrenching for once you get the beachhead, signal company for choosing attack for reinforcements, and maneuvering, like always. Recon company for choosing attacks, as always. Logistics, because you're securing a beachhead, you don't know what the infrastructure is going to quite be like when you get there, so you want to keep your supply usage low. And maintenance company for the tanks, keep them up and running and not lose as many as possible. In regards to the Mountaineer divisions, I really don't use them, and I know some people might see that as a really bad thing, but honestly, I've always just used my frontline infantry to go through mountains, and I don't see a need to especially split that off. And, you know, you're entitled to your own opinion, but that's just me. So the next division I want to show you guys is my Mechanized or Motorized Division, and this is obviously again extremely late game. And what I would do is 2 rows of the Mechanized Infantry, and this is the elitist, the 1944 Mechanized Infantry. And then I have 2 rows of medium SP artillery, so this is just the SPG modified variant of the 1944 variant of the medium tank. 2 medium SP anti-air, and then 3 medium tank destroyers. And that gives you a really strong attack as well as a really strong defense. And what I like to use this for is Motorized, to bring them around to maybe conquer small nations really quickly, or to move around to different aspects of the front line and reinforce that area and push through, because they're going to have that strong artillery presence to push through and take certain areas again really quickly, and then move out and have the frontline infantry hold it again. So this is going to be the offensive component from a mechanized standpoint against soft targets. And then what I like to have these guys on is I definitely have them on elite, so they get priority reinforcement and priority new equipment. So that's actually really important to me as well. So finally, guys, this is my armor division. What I have going on here is just a bunch of medium tanks supported by medium SP artillery, and then medium SP anti-air for air attack, because I like to protect my vehicles from the air attacks. Obviously for soft attack from the artillery to eliminate enemy infantry, and then the medium tanks provide huge amounts of breakthroughs so they can just keep attacking and attacking and attacking. And also the heart attack values, but those aren't quite as important against infantry, but very important against tanks and other armored such. So what I do here is the recon company for spotting and battle choice, supply usage, because again it's a huge division, need to keep supply usage down. Field hospital, really more so, not so much trickleback, because I don't expect that many actual men to die, but the experience loss, because then you can keep your experience as high as possible. Maintenance company to keep the reliability up, so we're not losing as many tanks just for moving over rocks and stuff. And then the signal company for reinforcement and battle movement speed, so that's really important as well. And then the reason I use medium tanks, guys, is because they provide the best balance between speed and power. And I like to have them right up around that 12 kilometer per hour, because that's what keeps up with the trucks and the mechanized infantry, which is what I was just looking at before. At 12 kilometers an hour is actually quite quick. It's 3 times as fast as your standard foot infantry, and I like to keep it right around that point. So the medium tanks, I find, can do that and then still provide the greater power than the light tanks. Something to be aware of with this armor division is that their defense is extremely pitiful. So if you are going to be using them to defend, it's not going to work very well. A variant of this that you can do to increase that is actually go for like more of a hybrid between the mechanized and the armor division. So actually what I would do is I would take these 2 rows and turn them all into either motorized or mechanized infantry, and then you'd still have the tanks for the heart attack and the breakthrough. You'd have all the artillery, and then you'd also have the anti-air. So that almost would be the best of both worlds. You'd have the defense, you'd have the offense, and you'd have the breakthrough. So that's something to consider. The reason I don't have anti-tank is I'm relying on the tank's piercing power themselves to be the anti-tank built in. And something you can do to increase this is when you produce the tanks, modify them with the extra army experience to have better guns. And that's extremely important. That can really help your medium tanks be more effective. So guys, those are the division templates I use. What I'd like to do now is hear from you guys. Leave a comment below entailing your favorite combat and support company, as well as if you have any tips or anything for everybody about what to build or what divisions to use. If you like this video or it helped you, please smack that like button before you go. As well as subscribe, because there will be more content like this every Monday and Thursday. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.